Okay, so we want to start out with just a touch of review. So let's say that we have Casey here, who starts off, how old are you, Casey?
28.
28? Okay, we'll let you be 28. Who's 28 right now, and he is going to save until he retires at 68 years of age. And Casey decides he can put away $200 per month. And after looking around in investments, he sees that he can get on that 40-year investment, he's going to be able to get 8.2% return, which is a little low, but playing it safe. So how much is he going to have in that investment at the end at 68 years of age? In other words, we're looking for a future value of an ordinary annuity. Now, ordinary annuity is just what we assume if it doesn't say annuity due. Annuity due means you get the extra period of interest at the end. So the future value is equal to his monthly payment of $200 times 3 parentheses, 1 plus the rate, 8.2%, becomes 0.082. What do we divide by? It's monthly, so we're going to divide by 12. We close our parentheses to the power of, well, it's 40 years times 12 months a year would be 480. So 480 periods minus 1, close the parentheses. Then we're going to divide by, open parentheses, 0.082 divided by 12. Then we close the parentheses twice. So we'll get this punched in. We get 739,000. Is that what you guys are coming up with? Perfect. So 739,930.08. So there's a goal for you, Casey. If you can start at $200 a month right now, 8.2% interest is not that bad. I mean, you can do better and you can do worse, but it's not. You won't make it till 68? Well, your wife and children will be able to retire well after you're gone. So what you're saying is on top of that, you should have a pretty good life insurance policy too. Then they'll retire really well after you're gone. That was kind of cold-hearted, wasn't it? I'm sorry. That was mean. Tell you what, it'll be a little less mean. They don't need all that money. Put me as the beneficiary in your life insurance policy. Well, there you go. Yeah. Well, the $250,000 is almost cheaper than 200,000, so 150 to 100. But that's only fair. Yeah. Yeah, what the heck? I'm bigger than they are. I'll eat more in retirement. So. Now that we've got an understanding, okay, on at the show. That was what we called the accumulation phase. When you're paying in. The other half of that is what we call the liquidation phase. In the liquidation phase, we are drawing the money back out. So let's say, yes, sir.
Just a quick question. Do you pay taxes when you take it out?
Depends on how it is set up. Some of them are set up so that there's, pre-tax money being put into it, so then you do pay when you come out. Others, the taxes have already been paid, so you don't pay taxes on it. All depends on how it's set up. Okay. Most of the time, yes, you do have taxes to pay on it. But it's a small price to pay for the savings, too.
Yeah.
In that case, then a lot of times you get to deduct it from your taxes as you're paying it in, though. So it saves you on money up front. So if you're putting in $200 a month, if you're in the 22% tax bracket, you would normally be paying $44 in taxes on it anyway. So it's really only taking $156 a month out of your paycheck. So in the liquidation phase, let's say that Casey does make it to 68 years of age and retires. And he realizes, he's old and tired and, well, he's only going to make it till about 76. So he's got 8 years to enjoy his retirement before he kicks the bucket. You said you weren't going to make it that long. Huh? Just going on. 76 is pushing it. Casey figures he is going to need $3,000 a month to survive in retirement. Got to pay those medical bills, right? And since he's going to retire, a lot of times during the liquidation phase, we get a lower rate of return because we're playing it safe. You don't want the higher rate of return usually is going in the more volatile markets, like we talked about a little bit last week, where you might have 1 year where you make 20%, another year might lose 2%. Well, you don't want to have that risk once you retire. You want it to be pretty guaranteed. So you might only get like 2, 3, 4% return in the liquidation phase because you're going to be investing in money markets and pretty secure corporate bonds, things that have very little risk but also very low interest rate. So let's say that Casey's going to get 3.7% on this, and he's going to draw it out monthly for 8 years. The formula for the present value of this is the amount of the payment. Oops, I don't know why there's a second E in there. Times 3 parentheses again. This first part's going to look really familiar. 1 plus our rate over n to the power of nt, the number of periods, minus 1. Still should look real familiar. Divided by our rate over n. Here's where it starts to look not so familiar. Times 1 plus the rate over n to the power of nt. Close and close. That's to the power of n times t. Where? This here? This one? That's this r, that's r by n. This is times here. Yep, that's times. Sorry. The little hamster isn't fully on the wheel tonight. So, yeah, there's a lot of parentheses in there. You're right. This is going to be $3,000 is going to be his monthly payment, or his monthly draw out, you should say, times 1, 2, 3. 1 plus 0.037 divided by 12 to the power of 8 years, 12 months a year, 96 months, minus 1, close, divided by, open, 0.037, oops, divided by 12 times, I have to drop down a line here, 1 plus 0.037 divided by 12 to the power of 96, close and close. So 3,000 times 1, 2, 3. 1 plus 0.037 divided by 12, close, power of 96, over, minus 1, close, divided by, open, 0.037 divided by 12, times, open, 1 plus 0.037 divided by 12, close, power 96 over close and close. Casey will need $248,958.27. That's just to get him through the 8 years. But he's drawing $3,000 a month. That's a decent size. So the question is, before we just said he had saved, where was it? His $200 a month, he had saved up $739, basically $740, $740,000. What if he wanted to use that whole $740,000 up in 8 years? And we're just going to use $740,000 just because it's easier that way. How do you think the formula changes? It's divided by instead of times. It's still 1 plus, it's still 3.7% we're going to go with. Divided by 12. The power of 96 minus 1, close, divided by open. 0.037 divided by 12 times 1 plus. All we've changed is we put in the full amount that he had saved before, the $740,000. And we're dividing to see what his maximum payment could be if he had saved that much. Well, I just rounded it up so I didn't have to remember 739, 930. Yeah. I'm being a little lazy.
Is this the only way to do it? Is there like a shortcut that you can take from?
There's the tables, that's about it. Or they actually make annuity calculators that you can do. There's annuity functions in Excel you can use that'll do some of it. But this is way more fun. You should see the looks you get at a bar when somebody asks, gee, I wonder how much I'll be able to draw out my retirement. And you just pull out your phone calculator and go to it. And here's it is. Yeah, it makes you really popular. Yeah, I have to stand at the door and listen for revving engines when I leave the bar, too. So 740,000 divided by 1, 2, 3. 1 plus 0.037 divided by 12, close. Power of 96 minus 1, close, divided by open. 0.037 divided by 12 times open. 1 plus 0.037 divided by 12, close. Power 96, close and close. He could actually draw out, if he actually had the full $740,000, he could draw out over $8,900 a month, $8,917. This here? No, that's times, and then this is an open parentheses here. So $8,900 a month could be a pretty good retirement living. If you're only going to live for 8 years, you're good. Well, let's look at somebody maybe a little bit more normal. Not that I'm saying you're not normal, Casey, but let's look at somebody a bit more normal than Casey. Let's say we've got someone who plans on retiring. Well, let's just do it this way. They are now 42 years old. They want to retire 65. Family history, which is really about all you can go off of, family history and medical issues and stuff. Plans to live to about 82. Figures he will need about $2,500 a month in retirement. Let's assume he can earn, now I'm just going to put some round numbers here, 4% while drawing. That was during the liquidation. And 9% while paying in. Let's find how much this person has to pay in from 42 to 65 to make this happen. So find required monthly payment. So we've upped the ante just a touch. Well, on these, we work backwards usually. We have retirement, of course, is our dividing point. Before retirement, we have a payment, we have a rate, and we have a time. After retirement, we have a payment, this time drawing out, we have a rate, and we have a time. Whichever side we know all three of them for is where we have to start. Well, on the front side, we know the rate and we know the time, but we do not know the payment. That's actually what we're trying to find, is the required monthly payment. So we can't start there. On the back side, we know the 4%. We know the time is going to be from 65 to 82. And we know the required payment is the $2,500. $2,500 a month. The rate was 4%. From 65 to 82 is 17 years. I'm going to go times 12 right now to get that out of the way. What, 204 months? Right? Sure. So what we're going to get from this is we're going to get how much they need at 65. So we're going to start out with the $2,500 a month. Multiply or divide? Multiply. This is the monthly. We're going for the big lump sum. 1 plus 0.04 divided by 12. Close to the power of 204. Minus 1. Close. Divided by. Open. 0.04 divided by 12 times 1 plus 0.04 divided by 12 to the power of 204. Close and close. So let's see if I can enter this all in without making a mistake. That, by the way, is the spot where I see the most mistakes, is just getting this all entered into the calculator in one long line without screwing something up. I'm prone to it myself. They get $369,607.34. So that's how much they need at age 65. If they have that much at age 65, they'll be able to draw out that $2,500 a month on 4% interest for the 17 years. So now we need to go back and figure out the amount needed to pay in every month. So the rate was 9%. It was from 42 to 65, which is how many years? 23 years. 23 times 12 is going to be what? 276, sound right? Okay. So now we are going to take the $369,607.34, and we're going to divide it by. Now remember, the formula during the accumulation phase is slightly different. We don't have that little extra thing on the end. Still 1, 2, 3. 1 plus 0.09 divided by 12. Close. To the power of 276 minus 1. Close. Divided by open. 0.09 divided by 12. Close and close. Remember, we don't have to have that extra last little piece in here that we do for the liquidation phase. So we'll take that number divided by 1, 2, 3. 1 plus 0.09 divided by 12. Close. Power 276 minus 1. Close. Divide by open. 0.09 divided by 12. Close and close. So this person would have to put away $403.86. That's starting out at 42. At 42, they'd have to start putting away that $403 every month till 65. Then starting at 65, they'd be able to draw out that $2,500 a month until they passed away at 82. Obviously, there's a little bit of a guessing game there because if you live longer than 82, well, you might have some issues. Yep. Have Social Security to live on?
Maybe.
I figure if you make it to 82, you deserve to leech off your children, right? That's what you're going to do? I better have a few more because don't put you in a home. Just ready to hit resume. Yeah? Okay, how much you want to pay on a truck? How much you want to spend for it? Yeah, which you're going to get like the $45,000 one? 45 grand? Okay. You're going to spend $45,000. How many years do you think they're going to finance that for?
7.
What's that? 7? Well, yeah, it used to be 5 was the standard, and then they started going up to 6. Now they will go up to 8 years.
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't go up to 8 years, but let's do 8 years for you. If you go up to 8 years, generally you get a little bit higher interest rate. Right now, my car is financed at 1.99, but on 8 years you would never get that. But you might be able to get like a 4.5%. Anybody want to guess what your payment is going to be? We actually use that liquidation phase formula. It's also, this is what we call a sinking fund, which is paying back a loan. It's the same concept. You have a balance and you're paying it off. Rather than drawing the money out, you're paying off that loan balance to the bank. So it's the $45,000 divided by 1, 2, 3. 1 plus 0.045 divided by 12. 8 years is going to be the power of 96 minus 1. Close divided by open. 0.045 divided by 12 times open. 1 plus 0.045 divided by 12. The power of 96. Close and close. Well, let's see what we get out of this. Plus 0.045 divided by 12, close, power 96, minus 1, close, divided by open, 0.045 divided by 12 times 1 plus 0.045 divided by 12. Yeah, they could have made these formulas a little shorter, couldn't they? $559.05.
You see how much that truck would cost you over that 8 years?
Sure. 96 payments, right? You're going to pay about close to $54,000 for that truck.
10 grand.
Yeah, 9 to 10 grand, yeah. That's at 4.5%. Yeah, you could probably refinance partway through. You'd extend it out over. A lot of people will refinance after 2 or 3 years. They'll extend it out over another 6 or 7, so you get an extra year to pay. So it lowers their payments.
And that's pretty over.
It does. Sometimes what you can do is you can refinance after a couple of years at a lower rate. Maybe get your interest rate down.
Oh, you
Now, it wasn't that long ago. It was just in the late 90s and early 2000s. You were getting like 8.5% to 9% interest on a car loan. So you can imagine what that would do. Well, let's just do that for fun. What if that was 8.5%? See how bad that would kill you. Let's just go 9% so it's easier to enter. 96. If that went up to 9%, you'd be paying $660, an extra $100 a month.
seems like a lot less for doubling up your free.
Yeah, I mean, an extra $100 a month, that costs you an extra $9,000.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this times 96 payments. Now instead of paying $54,000, you're paying $63,000. For those of you that don't think your credit rating matters, right now, if you have a good credit rating, by good credit rating, I mean like a 690 or above. Depending on the bank, some banks will go down to 675, some require like a 710 or 715 or above. You can get a home mortgage for about 4.5%. You can get it down as low as 3.9 yet, if you really shop around. If you have crappy credit, by crappy I mean somewhere in the high 400s or low 500s, which if you have defaulted on credit card debt, you are probably at that for at least the first year after you've done it. It does recover rather quickly, but it's down there. You could pay as much as 6.5%. Let's look at a standard $150,000 house on a 30-year mortgage, which is also pretty standard. What difference is this going to make? Let's start out with the good credit, 4.5%. 150,000 divided by 1 plus 0.045 divided by 12 to the power of 360 for 30 years minus 1. Close divided by open. 0.045 divided by 12 times 1 plus 0.045 divided by 12. Close to the power of 360. Close and close. So let's punch this thing in. And we get $760.03 a month. Now, that's just the mortgage payment. You also have to realize there's going to be property taxes. $150,000 home, you're probably going to look at between $2,800 and $3,800 a year. Unless you live on a lake, it might be even more. So you're going to probably add another $300 a month just in your property taxes on that. So it'll be a $1,000 a month payment. It depends on when your mortgage was filed. Right now, in the last year, the laws have changed where almost all mortgages have to escrow taxes and insurance. Unless you've gone through like a VA loan, some of those are different. And like land contracts are different and things like that. But if it's a mortgage done through a federally insured bank, it has to escrow taxes and insurance.
You own 11 to 13% right now.
Yeah? That's bad.
Well, you paid up and down.
Yep.
But still, when you only got a 4.2, like the credit was supposed to be at
Yeah. But 11%?
11 to 13.
Wow. That's not doing you any favors.
No.
So let's see how this all changes. And I'm just going to do this. I'm going to change this now all to, what did I say, 8.5%? 6.5%. So that one becomes a 6. That one becomes a 6. And that one becomes a 6. And this goes up to $948.10. So you can see your bad credit costs you $188 a month. I won't even throw in the 11% that you're talking about for VA. That would get ridiculous. Well, you know what? What the heck? It doesn't insult me any. In fact, let's put it in 11.5 just because that's easier to put in. Well, and the big advantage there is you don't have to have a down payment, which is, right now in order to get that like 4.5%, you do have to have a full 20% down. There's your $1,490 a Yes, it doubled your payment. Who can afford a $1,400 a month payment? Basically what they're doing is they don't want veterans to get their loans through the VA. They want them to get them through the conventional market. Somebody was telling me they bought a car at one of those high-risk places, and they were paying like 18% interest on their car. Yeah. Oh, the $50 down buys you a car?
Yeah, seriously.
Sure. Let's look at a $6,000 car. $6,000 car, you're probably going to go 4 to 5 years. Let's assume you're getting a 5-year loan on it. Let's see what a 4% loan would be and what a 16% loan would be. So 0.04 divided by 12, 5 years is going to be 60 payments. Here we go. Divided by 1, 2, 3. Yes, I do realize I'm putting in 0.040 instead of 0.04. There's a reason for that. So when I go back and put in the 16, there's room for it. So that $6,000 car at 4% interest would only cost you, well, I did something wrong there, didn't we? Oh. I was going to say, at that rate, I'll take a car if they're going to give me $24 a month. I'll take a really nice one for that price. Yep. Oh, you watched me do it and just let me go, didn't you? I see how you are. Oh, come on now.
By hitting the second and starting canceling the first time, you have to answer all of them.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna. Screw it. We're gonna start over. Yeah. So much for me trying to be lazy. You might be the one that has to look out in the parking lot tonight. Might need help starting it?
Insurance pays for it and all, but 3 of them you have to pay. Get it.
Okay, there it is, $110.50 a month. Which is actually, that seems right to me. If it were 16%, now we can go back and cheat. If it's 16%, goes up to $145.91. Which doesn't seem like a big deal, but
Payments, that's 60 payments.
yeah, over 60 payments, that's making a difference of about $2,000 on that card, $2,100 on that card. That seems like a good spot to take our break. So let's do that. We'll come back at about 6:25.